Franklin County schools integrated more than half a century ago, but desegregation has left its mark in Washington, Missouri. 3 remaining segregated schoolhouses for African American children stand the test of time, and memories of dealing with separation and working toward equality linger.
They moved the African American school children out of City Hall down to the Crispus Attucks School, named after the first African American killed in the American Revolution.
The lasting schools look similar to when they were in use. The original floors, walls, and ceilings are in place, and blackboards remain on the walls.
They were in that building until about 1922. They built a new schoolhouse at 3rd and Burnside Street, and also named the Crispus Attucks School. They built a 3rd school right at the cusp of desegregation. They named it Thomas Jefferson. It's out on West Main Street.
The schoolhouses are now all privately owned, but before uses include housing for special education students, vocational agriculture building, and storage space for the School District of Washington. I was fortunate enough to speak to former student of the Attucks School, Clifford H.
I attended Attucks School from the 1st grade to the 8th grade. It was about 35 students at Attucks. We had one teacher, and she taught all the grades. At one point, when I was in the 8th grade, my brother was Leroy H. was in the 7th. I had a sister, Wanda, that was in the 5th, and my younger sister, Norma, was in the 1st grade, and we were all in the same room. In the Caucasian public schools, you had a better education because, you had 4 or 5 teachers teaching different subjects for one class.
Beyond segregation, H is grateful to have grown up in Washington.
I had a lot of people in Washington that supported me, and that was, great about, growing up in Washington. 1955, I entered Washington High School, and at that time, I was the only Afro-American black boy in my class.
After graduating from Washington High School, Clifford H. went on to obtain his master's degree from Lincoln University and became the first African-American elementary school teacher in Washington's school district. The withstanding schoolhouses stand for more than desegregation in Washington, but the students that had attended.
I believe the preservation of place is almost as important as the preservation of records of names and dates and grades. If you don't learn from the past, you're condemned to repeat it. Stories are great. Stories are wonderful. Stories are what this place is all about. But if you have that object, in this case a building, to support your story, that's pretty important, I think.